Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. My name is Olivia Roth, and I am the Director of Online Academic Programs for Penn Engineering Online. We are delighted to have you with us today for our MCIT Online admissions webinar. And let me show you our slides for today. So I'll be the one that's on camera, but we have a whole crew of folks behind the scenes helping us out. We have Coley, Aaron, Jackie, Jeannie, and Kat. So I just want to give them a shout out right here at the top. Today, we're going to be talking about MCIT Online, which is the Master of Computer and Information Technology degree at University of Pennsylvania. And we are talking about the online iteration of this degree program. So as the Director of Academic Online Programs, I oversee the admissions evaluation portion of our process, as well as our full student experience once students are admitted into the program and on to when they become alumni. So I've been with our program since the beginning, and it's been just a treat to watch it grow over time. Our student body has grown exponentially, and I'll get into that a little bit more. But what you can expect today is an overview of the MCIT Online program. And we'll go through kind of what the program is, as well as the admissions criteria and some of the deadlines. And we are recording the session so that if you need to watch it again later, you're very welcome to, or share it with your friends. And if you have questions, you can put them in the Q&A tool within Zoom. So again, our folks behind the scenes will be helping out to answer the questions. Some of the questions may be answered through the presentation. After about 40 minutes or so, we will have a time for open Q&A, and I will address some of the most popular questions that show up in the Q&A tool. Anything that hasn't been covered in the presentation, we'll try our best to cover. And at the end, we'll give you a preview of some additional materials and opportunities to get acquainted with our program. So personally, I'm very excited to be filming from our studio today. As you know, from during the pandemic, sometimes you can have some homegrown solutions. And when I'm recording from home, there's always the chance that my kids' gerbils will be chewing on cardboard very loudly in the background. So very happy to be in our quiet, beautiful studio today, and happy to get started. So as I said, if you think of questions along the way, feel free to put them in the Q&A tool within Zoom. If you're joining us by phone today, unfortunately, we don't have a mechanism for you to submit questions by phone. But again, I'll share our email address at the end, and our admissions team is extremely responsive and helpful. So let's continue. Today, we're talking about the Online Master of Computer and Information Technology. So this is a degree that is one of a kind. It's been on campus since about 2001, and it is something that is well established in the marketplace. So a lot of employers are familiar with it. And we brought the degree online around 2019. So the online version of this degree is relatively young. And like I said, the student body has been steadily growing. And so we are just so excited to see that happening. And as well, our alumni population is growing, and we'll talk about that too. So sometimes people wonder whether the MCIT Online degree is the same degree as the on-campus program. And the answer is that yes, it is the same degree. It's the same curriculum. The knowledge conferred is the same. In fact, the diploma is the same. There is no mention of online on the University of Pennsylvania diploma that you receive. So everything about it is the same, except the method by which you absorb the information. So rather than coming to campus, you log online, and we have basically configured our classes to be delivered in an online fashion. So in other words, one method might be just setting up a video camera in the back of a classroom and pressing record and putting that content online. But instead of doing that, we have especially designed the courses and pre-recorded all of the lectures, particularly for this, this platform. So I think the students are usually very happy with the way that everything is conveyed, and there's a lot of thought put into all of it. So MCIT Online is a degree that it's a computer science degree, but it's designed for people without a computer science background. So what that means is that a person does not need to have a bachelor's in computer science to apply. In fact, if you do have a bachelor's in computer science, you would be considered overqualified for this particular degree program. So we are looking for non-CS majors. It could be engineering, it could be a different kind of engineering, but it could also be liberal arts, or it could be, econ, business. We get all sorts of different folks with different kinds of backgrounds. So that's why it's so unique, and it can be such an incredible tool for changing people's lives if you want to change careers or get into the tech industry, or even sometimes people use it as a way to infuse it within their own career and stay in a not a traditionally non-CS job, but use computer science within what they're doing, because computer science is showing up everywhere, right? It's in analyzing data, and it's in creating programs to synthesize algorithms, and it's related to, it's relevant to just about every field that there is. Okay, so here are some of our current statistics for our demographics. These are numbers for our active students. I'm wondering, I hope these windows aren't blocking your view. I'm gonna change it like that. Okay, now you can't see me, so one moment. Want it to be, okay, everything's fine. Well, good. We have about 1,500 active students currently, as of right now, and about 56 of them are international. We didn't put it in here, but we actually have a really cool world map where you can see all the different places where people are logging in from. And we're trying to get all of the continents. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting closer. 39 different countries, as you can see. We have currently 42% women, which we're very happy about. And we are still looking to increase that number because women are traditionally underrepresented in the field of computer science. So that's something that part of our diversity values and goals in our program. And you can see we have a wide age range from about 22 to 64. So again, that's another part of the diversity, is age diversity, and something that I think makes our program very rich. We tend to find that a lot of students in the on-campus program are about just out of college, let's say. But in MCIT Online, the majority of our students are mid-career working professionals. So that means that they have a wide range of places where they are in maybe their family life, in their professional life. Some folks are retired and are looking to do lifelong learning type of endeavors. So that's just another facet of the demographics and the richness that I think we have within our community. So these are three different facets of our program that we wanted to highlight that were particularly noteworthy. One is that we have a very robust online community. And again, a person could think that if they are going to be doing an online master's degree, that they might be kind of isolated in that experience. And we definitely don't want that. We want you to feel connected. We want you to know that as a MCIT Online student, you are a full-fledged member of the Penn, University of Pennsylvania community. And so I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later, but we have a lot of different ways that people can connect with each other as students and can connect with the staff, faculty, and the broader community at Penn. The online Master of Computer and Information Technology degree is also eligible for federal financial aid. And we also have for the first time a scholarship, which I will give a few more details about in a bit. And then students also get tailored career services and networking opportunities. So this is huge because, you know, as a student, you get connected to the broader University of Pennsylvania network, meeting everyone that's currently involved with Penn, as well as everyone that ever was involved with Penn. So it's quite a large number of people. And then as well, the MCIT Online community itself is, 1,500 students and plus alumni. And we've just found that the community is very generous overall and very open to making connections with each other. And I think that this resource can be a lifelong thing. As well, we have an assistant director of professional development and networking, and she is amazing. She gives services to students, again, while the time that they're matriculated as students, but also as alumni. And she provides tons of resources, as well as resume reviews and personal one-on-one advising. So if you want to know more about that, we have even more details on our website about career services and networking opportunities. Okay, so let's talk about the curriculum. The curriculum is 10 courses. 6 of those courses are what we call core courses, and they are the ones that you finish first before you move on to the electives. So the core courses are the ones that everybody takes. You can take them sequentially in numerical order, or you can deviate a little bit from that based on the prerequisites. There are a lot of conversations among our students about, the ideal order to take classes in, and we have advisors as well who can advise on that. But one thing I can tell you about that's not totally obvious from this particular slide is that the 6 core courses are actually kind of logically grouped into 3 subcategories. So 591 and 594 are programming courses. So those courses are kind of linked together in a logical progression. Then we have 592 and 596 are our mathematical classes. So 592 is basically a discrete math class that focuses on proofs. So a lot of logic and proofs, and that again transitions into algorithms at the higher level. And then 593 and 595 are our hardware classes. And so that's where you get into the really nitty gritty of, I think, literally the circuits and the C code. And I'm not an expert on this part, but the cool thing about the 6 core courses is that they all are interconnected with each other. And, one thing that we like to say is, if a person wants to go out into the world and learn a programming language, they can do so pretty easily by taking an online class or, attending a boot camp. But with this curriculum and the core courses, by the time you finish these 6 classes, people have such a thorough understanding of the foundations of computer science that you can then teach yourself any computer language you need to know, and programming language, I should say. And what's particularly amazing about that is that, as you can imagine, technology is always changing and adapting, and programming languages come and go out of popularity. And so with this skill set under your belt, you can adapt very easily with the changing of technologies and the changing of programming languages. And as you can imagine, this curriculum is very rigorous. It's rather accelerated. And so for some folks, you know, that level of in-depth knowledge may be more than what you particularly need. And so we like to make sure that people understand kind of the full scope of the experience here, so that we can make sure on our side and on your side that it's a fit for what you're looking for. And if it is a fit, then I describe it as a superpower, because you can then easily transition into any of our elective courses, where you can then specialize a little bit more and learn more advanced topics. You know, sometimes students find that, you know, maybe there's a particular concept that wasn't covered in the 6 core courses that they need for their elective course. And guess what? They can easily teach it to themselves very quickly, because again, they have that thorough understanding. And so it's a very empowering experience, and one that sets up our students for success as they go out into the world, where there's not always going to be someone you know, showing you what to do at every turn. So our students are very scrappy and resourceful, which we're super proud of. So as I said, the content will feel a bit accelerated. One thing for a point of comparison we can use is there's also in the world a credential called a Master of Science in Computer Science. And this is different. So sometimes we get that question. I think we already saw that question come in. What's the difference between an MCIT degree and a Master of Science in Computer Science? So the difference is that I'll call it an MSE. That would be kind of a traditional master's degree in computer science. And an MSE, you might, again, the person will have taken computer science as their undergrad degree, and then they go into the graduate school and they might have, let's say, 4 core courses and then 6 electives in which to specialize. So now, in contrast, for MCIT, the computer science background is not there. So it's kind of flipped. There are 6 core courses and 4 electives in which to go deeper. And so the 6 core courses do not necessarily cover, again, every single minute detail that you would get if you had done a full undergrad degree. But again, it's designed and it's been honed over the last 20 some years to teach students the concepts that they need to know in such a way that, again, it comes together. And on campus, what we have is the MCIT students, once they're done with the core courses, they join in with the MSE students in the same electives in the same classroom. And then they go on to get very similar jobs. One reason a person might want to pursue an MSE is if they wanted to go in a research direction, like perhaps to get a PhD down the road. The MCIT Online degree program does not have a research component. However, as a fun sidebar, we have had a few students supplement their MCIT degree with research and then go on to a PhD as well. So, so there are different possibilities and lots of options with this particular degree. So another question we get sometimes is, what is the actual course experience like? Because when we say it's an online degree program, if you've looked around at all, you know there are a lot of different types of online products out there on the market. So what exactly is this one like? So the way I like to describe it is the program has 3 semesters per year. There's fall, spring, and summer, and they're all of equal length. The fall and the spring semesters are required. The summer semester is optional. Most of our core courses and many of our electives are offered in the summer. So it's definitely an option that a lot of our students take us up on. And then if a person wanted to take off a particular fall or spring because of life events or work events, they can do so by taking a leave of absence. And then they can take up to 4 semesters off from the program, meaning fall and spring semesters. Summers are just a freebie. So if you want to just go to the beach all summer and not do any schoolwork, I don't know if anyone really has a life where they can do that these days. But if you're one of those lucky people, it's absolutely fine. You're welcome to take the summers off. So then let's say it's the first day of class. So you've signed up for one class in a particular semester. On the first day of class, you'll immediately have access to all of the pre-recorded videos in the class. So it's kind of like Netflix style. If you want to, you can binge the classes or the videos as much as you want. That being said, the assignments are usually due on a weekly or bi-weekly schedule. So those assignments are only opened up one at a time. So all the students are working on the same assignments together in a synchronous, well, in a cohort type of experience. So let's say it's a course where there's an assignment due at the end of the first week, typically then probably every week. So during that, so the assignment is due at the end of the week. Within that week, you have the flexibility to watch the pre-recorded videos on your own schedule whenever it works for you, work on practice assessments whenever it works for you. And then there are live sessions that are optional to attend. So typically a course would have office hours offered by the instructor or maybe some teaching assistants, as well as perhaps a recitation, which is usually more like the teaching assistants working through a problem in real time. So those, and we try to offer them at different times throughout the day so that people in different time zones can join in. And we also realize that some people won't be able to join in because of work schedules and other conflicts. So we do record those sessions as well. That way, if you're not able to make the live session, you can, again, watch the recording on your own time. So as you can see, during the course of that week, there is no particular time when a person is required to be online. And then the assignment is due at a certain time at the end of the week. You need to submit the assignment before that time, and then you move on to the next week. Sometimes there are proctored exams. That might be just once at the end of the semester, or perhaps there might be a midterm as well, or 2 midterms. And in that case, there's usually a 4-day window in which a student can take their proctored exam. So, and then within that proctored exam time period, when you press start on your own exam, usually have about 4 hours or so, depending on what the topic is. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea of what the course experience is like. I haven't even gotten to the community aspect of it as well, but I will, don't worry. So next, I want to talk about the pacing of the program. So as I said, students can take off a semester now and then if they need to. But let's say you're not wanting to take any time off and wanting to kind of go forward in a steady manner. What you see here is one possible schedule for how a person could finish the degree. And this would be a 5-semester plan in which the student takes 2 courses every semester. Again, this is just a sample because we want to, sometimes people want to know like how quickly can they finish, or how long will it take? So this is just one scenario that you can that you can imagine. You can see also that they did take classes in the summer in this situation. So they finished in about a year and a half. 1 or 2 courses per semester is considered part-time. But I like to emphasize that there is no particular requirement for how many courses you need to take each semester. So it's adaptable in that way. For example, if a person is a CPA or something where their job is very, very busy in the spring, perhaps they might take 2 courses in the fall and then 1 in the spring. And then maybe the next year, when it comes around to spring again, it's not particularly busy at work, so they take 2 that semester, and they take 1 in the fall and 0 in the summer, and then 2 in the following summer. So really, it's kind of choose your own adventure, and students don't even need to really notify us as to how many as to what their status is in terms of part-time or full-time. It's just, again, determined by how many courses that you register for. You only need to let us know if you're taking off for the spring or fall or returning. So here's one other possible course plan. This would be more of a full-time plan, which is fairly rare, again, because most of our students are mid-career working professionals. And so taking 3 classes at the same time as a full-time job is something that I personally can't imagine and wouldn't really recommend. But I suppose if you were not working, then maybe this could be a plan that works for you. So in this case, it's about a 16-month duration. So this is about the fastest I could possibly imagine someone finishing the degree. I'm very much in favor of not going too fast, because again, with the accelerated content, it's a lot to absorb. And I always think it's good to have a little bit of extra time to just let the content sink in, especially, if you're taking more than one, how does the content relate to the other class, and to just let your neural pathways really enjoy the experience and let it absorb. I was going to use another cooking metaphor, but I decided not to. So finally, we get to talk about the community. As you can tell, this is an aspect that I get very excited about talking about. So one of the tools that we use to foster community in our program is Slack. So Slack is kind of like a texting program, and something we use in our own office. I'm on it right now just to communicate with my team behind the scenes while we're doing this webinar. But this is a tool for the students to chat with each other. And there are different channels, meaning like different virtual areas, I guess you'd say, where people can connect with each other on different topics. So there's one channel where everybody has access to. Everybody in the whole community can post a question and help each other. But there's also channels that students create themselves related to whether it might be where they're physically located, so they can connect in real life in MCIT Bay Area, MCIT Hong Kong, MCIT Australia. We see all sorts of channels related to geography. And it could be areas of interest too, or particular, jobs that people are looking to go into. So we just have a lot of really rich interactions in that workspace. We have a humor channel and a pets channel. Some people find that they just want to keep their nose down and get their homework done, and they're not really interested in participating in more of the community aspect, and that's totally fine. But then we have students who have made, real actual friends through the program and really value that particular aspect. We have a LinkedIn group as well, which is something that students get added to right away when they're first admitted. And again, all the way through alumni. So that has become a very stable and exciting resource for folks to network with each other. Another example of our community is a club that we have. We have one club called MCIT Online Student Association. We actually have another one in the works that we'll hope to debut soon. But yeah, so in the club, they organize hackathons and webinars with alumni and other people in industry. And it's all student led. So we're very grateful to have such engaged students in our program. Then as we're able, we sometimes can host in-person events as well as, of course, virtual events, just in terms of program level event planning. We're having an MCIT Online Spring Symposium coming up in a couple of months for our current students with a bunch of different events, and we'll invite everyone to campus for commencement and then back in the fall for homecoming, etc. When the COVID numbers are not too bad, we can send some of us out to the West Coast to meet up with some of our students out there in person as well. So we always like to meet up with our students where they are around the world whenever possible. And of course, we welcome them to Philadelphia when they can join us here. Okay, so the tuition for the program is $3,200 per course unit. And as I mentioned, there's 10 courses or course units in this particular degree. So that is a total of $32,000. And each course also has a $140 per course unit fee. So, so that ends up to $1,400 total. The way the payments are deployed is by semester, and it depends on how many courses you take each semester. So let's say at your first semester, you sign up for 2 courses. Once your bill is due towards the beginning of that semester, you would owe $6,400, which is the 2 course units of tuition and the 2 student fees all put together. So you can see the chart there of how much it would cost per semester, depending on how many courses you sign up for that semester. One other note is that in order to be eligible for federal financial aid, you have to be enrolled in at least 2 courses for that particular semester. Okay, so this is our new scholarship. It's called the Dean's Master's Scholarship, and it provides financial support to online master's students in order to further the university's interest in attracting an academically talented and diverse student body. So this scholarship is available to US citizens and residents. It is actually funding that is awarded for the duration of the program. So it is given out every semester while the person is a student in our program. And in terms of logistics, the way it works is that once you press submit on your application, you receive an email with a link to, I'll say it again, once you submit your MCIT Online application, then you'll receive an email with a link to the scholarship application. We have 2 different applications going on here, but the first step is to submit the MCIT Online application itself, and that's when you get the link to the scholarship application. So as I said, MCIT Online is still a relatively young program, but we do have a few graduates and more each semester. Our first graduates were in summer of 2021, I believe. So we just have a few semesters of graduates so far. And we were able to collect some statistics on kind of our first cohort. And so you can see some of them here. We had a pretty good return rate on our survey when we were following up with folks to find out what they're doing after they left our program. And so what we found is that a lot of the outcomes are very similar to what we see on campus. And so that's exactly what we expected to see, and that is exactly what we do see. So you see software engineer and developer is a very popular field to go into after this degree. But of course, there is a wide range, and there's some folks who decide to, stay in education or I guess stray from the beaten path, which is something that is very exciting for us. I think I said something wrong. Our first graduates were in August 2020. Yeah, that makes a little more sense. So that's why the report was published in November 2021. And moving forward, we will always be updating our numbers in November. So stay tuned to our website, because we'll be sure to be posting current statistics there. And if you want to get in a little bit more depth than what you see on the screen, you can navigate to our website, which is online.cs.upenn.edu. And I think I said the right URL. If not, somebody will correct me in the chat. And you can see more details there. Okay, so let's talk about the application details. So the application has several different components to it. There's a resume, a personal statement. You need to submit unofficial college transcripts for every academic credit that you've taken. And there's a $90 application fee, which is non-refundable. And then finally, you need a minimum of 2 letters of recommendation for your application to be considered complete. One tip is that we suggest people ask 3 recommenders if possible. That way, if one person has, a last minute issue where they can't submit a letter for you, you are still meeting the minimum criteria, and your application will still get evaluated. So the GRE and GMAT are optional. They are not required for this degree. And the TOEFL is an English language proficiency exam. So that's required if somebody's native language is not English, unless you have received a degree at an English speaking institution in the United States or in another country where English is the primary language within that school. So if you submit an application and you indicate that English is not your native language, you will automatically receive an email stating that you need to submit official TOEFL scores. But if you would like to apply for a waiver based on the criteria that I just said, there will be a link in that email to submit your waiver. That link will be unique to you and to your application, so that it's sure to be connected to your particular file. So then at any point, you can navigate to the checklist in your admissions portal, and then you can see what the status of your application is. Sometimes people wonder if, they turn their application in a little bit early, maybe they will receive a decision a little earlier, but all of our decisions are given out on the same day. So if you look at the schedule, we have one more application deadline coming up for fall 2022, and that is on May 1st. So that's actually also when the final deadline for the scholarship. So you want to try to get your application in before May 1st, so that if you want to apply for the scholarship, you can get that in as well by the deadline. And then all of the decisions are returned on June 15th on that date. And the way it works is that you would get an email letting you know that there's a letter for you to view within the system. And then you navigate to the system, to the application portal, and that's where the letter is. So classes start in August 2022. But before that, we have an onboarding course that opens in July. And so you can start getting acquainted with the Coursera platform at that time. You can start learning some of the tools that you'll be using, like Slack, Zoom. I was going to start doing a list of all the different programs, but you also get early access to the first course so that you can start getting your legs under you and getting comfortable in the platform. So a note about official transcripts. We do not need to receive official transcripts when you're an applicant, unless you have a transcript that maybe is not in English, or maybe the grading scale is not on a 4.0 scale. In that case, we suggest having your transcript evaluated by a service so that so we can evaluate it more easily. But once you are admitted as a student, at that time, we do need to have official transcripts, which means they need to be submitted directly from the school, and we need to have all of the transcripts from your academic background. So you might as well go through the exercise of collecting them for the application in an unofficial capacity so that you're all ready and organized for if and when you get admitted. So I think that is a good stopping place for now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and now we can have a little bit of time for questions. I'm going to get a quick drink of water. Okay, so let's see what some of the questions are that are coming in. Okay, this question is, can you discuss underqualified versus overqualified for the program? So the minimum qualification for the program is having a bachelor's degree from an accredited university. So that is what is needed at a minimum. To add more nuance to that, I would say that we also need folks to have an aptitude for quantitative and mathematical topics. So if a student studies something in undergrad that is not at all quantitative or mathematical, then you would want to supplement your application with perhaps, a few courses from a community college or some online courses that demonstrate your aptitude in a way that is sort of can be traditionally measured by a committee. So that's kind of the minimum qualification. And then it is possible to be overqualified as well. So our definition of overqualified is if a person could waive or test out of more than 2 of the core courses. So if you think back to those 6 core courses that I mentioned, there's 2 programming courses, 2 hardware courses, and 2 math courses. If, let's say, maybe you had a minor in computer science or something like that, what you would want to do is you would want to navigate to our website where you can find the actual course descriptions for these 6 core courses. Take a look at the courses that you have. Hi, Coley. Take a look at the courses that you have taken and compare them to the course list on our website. And that's how you can tell whether you're overqualified or not. Sometimes people ask us, maybe their job is already related to computer science. Like maybe there's they are already a software developer. I would say if someone is already a software developer, that's definitely a flag for us to kind of look at the application again and think, I wonder why this person needs this degree if they're already working in this field. So what you would want to do is explain very clearly why it is that you need this information and why you're not qualified, why you're not overqualified. So for example, sometimes we have people that are software developers, but they never had a traditional education in the field. They worked their way up to it and sort of figured some stuff out on their own, but they never really got that traditional and thorough curriculum under their belt. And so that's the case. Then again, in all cases, let us know what your particular situation is and why you are excited and committed to this particular degree. And just in case the committee might have any doubts as to your overqualification, you can set the record straight. Okay. Do you recommend any math classes for people who would like to brush up on math after being out of school and working for a number of years? Yes. Well, I can say generally that we like to see classes in algebra, calculus, and discrete math. Those are some of our favorites. In addition, to be more specific, there's a professor at University of Pennsylvania named Rob Greist who put out a series of calculus courses on Coursera. They might be free, I'm not 100% sure, but we know those classes and we know that they are an excellent caliber. And so that's something that I can recommend specifically because it's already on our radar. And if anybody on the admissions team can pull it up, just throw it in the chat and then folks can find it even more easily. But Grace is spelled G-H-R-I-S-T. So I hope that helps for your math question. I certainly recommend taking a math class. If you've already taken some in your undergrad, then it's probably not necessary. But if it's been a while, the math classes can be particularly challenging for people. And when we see that math class, it's a very clear signal that someone is definitely interested in and having that aptitude. Okay, so here's another question. Are we only allowed to take a total of 10 courses? Can we possibly take more than 4 electives? In a past webinar, it was mentioned that a student would need to test out of some core courses to be able to take more electives. Okay, well, I can answer this in 2 parts. I like this question because it shows that people are really excited to participate in the electives, and we do have some really awesome ones. So a person can take more than 10 courses total if they schedule their course plan kind of carefully. So basically the university rule is that once you finish all of your requirements for your degree program, you must graduate. Seeing as how there's 10 courses in the curriculum, what you can do is arrange your schedule so that maybe in your second to last semester, you take, I don't know, 2 to 3 courses. And so that by the time you reach your last semester, you've taken 9 courses so far. You only have 1 that you need to take in order to graduate, but you have more room in your schedule to take more than that in your last semester. So that's something that our students do sometimes to maximize the electives that they take. And I can also share that there is going to be a mechanism for MCIT Online students to take more than 10 electives in a fashion that's a little more a little less sneaky and a little more sanctioned. And we will be giving out details about that in a few months. So we are super excited about it and definitely recommend keeping an eye on our social channels and our website so you can be the first to find out about that new initiative. This question is, can Coursera courses be used to bolster the assessment of our application, or are they more so for our own benefit? I think this question is probably asking about some of the courses that our office has produced on Coursera that are non-credit. So we have 2 that are particularly associated with the MCIT Online degree. There's our computational thinking for problem solving course. And then we also have a specialization, which is Introduction to Java and Python specialization. I would say that the committee does not take a deep dive into how a person performed in these particular courses. The bigger benefit is, one, as you're saying in the question, the benefit of the applicant. You can see, if you haven't had a lot of exposure to computer science in the past, you can get a sense of whether this is a direction you want to pursue and whether this is something you want to spend a lot of time on. So the computational thinking for problem solving course is a great place to start if you have zero previous exposure to any kind of programming. But if you do have some exposure, you could probably just skip to the intro to Python and Java specialization. And what I like about that is that the videos in those courses are the same videos that are in our first course of MCIT Online. And in the degree version of the course, there are more videos than those, and the assignments are more extensive and a lot more advanced. However, again, this specialization really gives you a sense of the look and feel for what our courses are like. You're literally getting to know one of the professors, our first professor, Professor Krakowski, and so you're navigating around on Coursera, which is our primary platform, and so I think that it can really benefit the applicant. We like to see it as well from the missions committee side, because it shows that you've really done some research on this particular program. You have some online learning experience on the very platform that we use, and that you're taking the initiative to kind of supplement your application with something that's so relevant to this particular degree. So I think the answer is that it benefits both the committee and hopefully you yourself as a prospective student. Okay, we have time for a few more questions. And I thought of a topic that we haven't talked about very much yet. So let me think if I can remember what it was. Well, I can say that we have electives that are focused in different kinds of areas, like machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, and blockchains and cryptography. So actually you can find a full listing of our electives on our website. In the beginning, we were kind of constantly making new electives and adding to our list. I think now that we're in the adolescence stage of our program instead of the newborn stage, we won't be creating quite as many new courses. But what's exciting about some of these courses is that the content is actually changing so quickly. As you can imagine, with technology the way it is, some of these courses have to be revised quite often. I remember one professor telling me that he really should be updating his course every 3 months or so. Or there's another example where I think it's our blockchains and cryptography course. There's always a lot going on in the news related to this topic. And so one of the professors has instituted a weekly current events session. Again, this is optional, but students can attend a live session with him to talk about something concrete that's going on in the present day. And I think even the students have the opportunity to submit topics that they want to hear about. For example, like, such and such country just legalized blockchain as a type of currency within their country. Like, what are the implications of that? And so I always say that I want to step out of whatever meeting I'm in that that day and go learn about it, because it's so cutting edge, I guess you'd say, and relevant to the current times. So we were very happy with our electives, and I'm not saying we wouldn't ever make more. I think we probably will. It's just that the the speed of the new electives is going to be slowing down a bit. We also like to hear from the students about what topics they want to learn about. And so we definitely cultivate a culture of feedback within the program in terms of just always looking to improve wherever we can. We had a lot of student feedback regarding a particular proctoring service that we were using, and we were eventually able to switch and pivot to another one that everybody's been a lot happier with. And so that's an example of some of the adapting that we're able to do. Okay, so let me, while we're gathering the last few questions, let me also show you our last slide here, which has additional ways for you to connect with us once this webinar is over. So on our website, we have a very robust FAQ website. As you're going through your application and filling it out, chances are someone else has had the same question that you do. So we definitely recommend checking it out. It has a great search function. But meanwhile, also don't hesitate to reach out to our admissions team. Our email address is online-admissions@seas.upenn.edu. They're extremely responsive and helpful and knowledgeable, and very happy to answer any questions that you have. You can sign up for our mailing list, which is hosted on Coursera's website. You can see the URL there, and that will ensure that you find out about any webinars that are coming up. We also have coffee chats, which is another product that's a little bit different from our webinars. Our coffee chats are a little more informal. They are live events like webinars, but they're not recorded. And the participants are all on camera with us. So it's kind of like hanging out in a chat room with applicants and folks from our recruitment team, so that we can answer questions that in real time that may be applicable to a lot of different people in the room. And sometimes we can even have, applicants giving each other advice, on best practices that they have learned throughout their process. So you can learn about that once you sign up on our mailing list. You can also find the schedule on our website. We also have one-on-one individual advising that students can participate in. So that link is on our website as well. But again, it's 15-minute time slots that you can sign up for individual counseling session with an advisor. So let's say you have a question that's very specific to your own situation that can't really be addressed in a coffee chat because it's just personalized, or there's something about it that's personal. In that case, we have a product for that too, which is our advising office hours. We have office hours every week. So if you take a look at the calendar and for some reason it's booked up and you're not able to find a time slot, just send us an email at our email address. And again, we'll work with you to find a time that works for your schedule. So finally, we have the two Coursera items that I was telling you about before. So Introduction to Programming with Python and Java. That's a series of 4 smaller courses. So you could take just a few of them if you want to, or the whole thing. But if you do, be sure to mention it on your resume and your personal statement so that we don't miss it and we can see your dedication. We also have the Computational Thinking for Problem Solving course, which is a great sort of beginning primer. I started it at one point. It has very adorable puppy footage. So it's really well done and enjoyable to partake in. So thank you again for joining us today. I hope that it was helpful. We have lots of other webinar videos on our website. Sometimes we have special guests with us, like current students or staff or alumni. So definitely check those out as well, so you can get a variety of different perspectives. And be sure to get in touch with us if you have any more questions. If we somehow didn't answer your question today, please be in touch. Thanks again and have a good one.